When restaurants close nationwide due to the pandemic, the agricultural industry has struggled to hang on. The citrus grower from Riverside, California, tells us what haunted him in his dreams.
The uncertainty and the potential loss of his life's work keeps Vince Bernard up at night. At Bernard Ranches in Riverside, California, the citrus grower saw more than 3,000 boxes of oranges rot in March. He couldn't sell them to schools and restaurants after the pandemic forced them to shut down. The loss cost him $36,000.
Lemon sales went from 40, 50 boxes a week to zero. And it was looking increasingly bad in March.
Bernard's worst nightmare was trying to keep his trees alive and not being able to afford to pay the water bill. The monthly payment is almost $7,000.
And that was what was keeping me up at night, because I'm thinking I'm going to have to cut the water off and kill like 4 or 5 acres just to stay alive. And I couldn't do that. I mean, I had nightmares of that. I can't bear to see the trees suffer.
68-year-old Bernard quickly realized that he had to knock on doors to avoid losing his crop of seasonal Valencia oranges and ultimately his farm.
Went through all my old customers and I told them, my dad told me, half a loaf's better than nothing. So you do what you can to stay alive. Next year will be better. And I told him I'm desperate. I'm desperate to keep them.
Bernard planted his orange, lemon, grapefruit, and avocado trees back in 1962. He started selling the fruit in 1984. For Bernard, his orange trees are more than an income. They are his family.
But I'm hopeful that with all of this, we'll keep going. The trees will stay alive. Southern California groves, there's not very many of them left, period. I'll give this to the kids, and it'll continue.
Besides the distribution to local restaurants, hotels, and schools, Bernard has been relying on the fruit guys. The online business delivers farm-fresh fruit to offices and homes nationwide.
The Transportation Security Administration says it kept $926,000 last year in exchange in cash left behind by travelers at airport checkpoints. TSA made the disclosure in a new report to Congress. The agency says it makes an effort to return lost money to travelers, but that it spends what's left. TSA says it has collected more than $3.5 million in forgotten change and cash over the years. New York's JFK International Airport accounted for the most unclaimed cash in 2019 with more than $98,000. TSA encourages people who have left items behind at security checkpoints to check one of its lost and found offices. Imagine someone calling an ambulance for you, and instead of taking you to the hospital, they send you off to a funeral home in a body bag. Well, that's pretty much what happened to a woman in Michigan.
A 20-year-old Michigan woman was pronounced dead by paramedics on Sunday, but she was later discovered breathing after being transported to a funeral home in Detroit. She was first discovered unresponsive at her home in Michigan on Sunday morning. Local fire department paramedics responded to a 911 call of a cardiac arrest. They attempted to revive her for around 30 minutes. Based on medical readings in the woman's condition, paramedics declared that she was dead. The woman was transported to a funeral home in Detroit. 90 minutes later, funeral staff found she was breathing and called emergency medical services. The 20-year-old was taken to a local hospital after examination by emergency crews.
A new museum in Berlin is set to tell the stories of those who were forced to flee Nazi Germany. Many of them significantly shaped society with their new homes. NTD's Germany correspondent Christian Watchen has more.
What do Billy Wilder, Henry Kissinger and Albert Einstein have in common? They are all exiles. Under the Third Reich and its persecution of Jews and others, they were forced to leave. A planned museum, the Exile Museum Berlin, aims to shed a light on those who fled Nazi Germany in the 30s and 40s.
The expulsion of these approximately 500,000 people, not only from the German Reich, but also from Austria, which was occupied by Hitler in 1938, is the great cultural catastrophe of the last century next to the Holocaust.
In post-war Germany, the issue of exile received little attention, and to this day, exiles are not considered the typical Nazi victims.
These German exiles had a huge impact in all countries of the world. As scientists, as artists, as sociologists, as entrepreneurs, it was a big brain drain. And it was actually the first great cultural globalization.
Many have left indelible marks on their adopted homes. Curious George, the birth control pill, and the shopping mall are all inventions by exiles who had fled from the Nazis. One was Andrei Previn, the award-winning US pianist, composer and conductor who was born in Berlin. Being Jewish, despite having a full scholarship, Previn was made to leave the Berlin Conservatory. Following a tip from a Nazi officer who knew his father, the family managed to flee with barely any belongings, first to Paris, then Los Angeles.
In the 1930s and 40s, Berlin's main train station stood here. And this is where tens of thousands began their journey into exile. Many say it is fitting that the new Exile Museum will find its home here.
This is the winning architectural design, and it will include the ruins of the train station entrance. At the heart of the museum will be the exiles' stories. The museum wants to bring them to life through modern technology.
We want people to emerge from the museum shocked, touched, changed. The classic thing you always wish for in a museum is that people leave differently than they came in.
The Exile Museum Berlin is scheduled to open in 5 years. Reporting by Christian Watchen, NTD News, Berlin.
Dogs and their owners have come together for the 4th annual Underdog Marathon in Croatia. The best part, each pair competes as a team.
These dogs and their owners might look like they're heading to the beach for a casual stroll, but today there's a far tougher workout ahead. Monty's Beach is the location for this year's Underdog Marathon. The competition is now in its 4th year.
This year we had 24 participants, 3 winners, and of course we like to give a prize to the last one in, and this year we added another prize for the second to last.
The main event is a running and swimming race, but owners and their pooches compete together in a team of 2. Crossing the finish line first is Marin Bogdan with his dog Nimbus.
My dog is a natural talent. He likes the sea, isn't afraid of jumping into the water, and he's a very strong swimmer. That's our advantage, and our strong side.
Next up is a beer drinking contest, followed by an ice cream eating race.
It's an opportunity for them to have a bonding experience, to socialize with other dog owners and dogs.
The dogs and owners in this year's race were mainly from Croatia, but organizers say they would love to encourage more international racers in the future. Montanari says just one owner had to be disqualified because he finished the race without his dog.